episode of Mouse Minds. We are here with Robert, Lisa, and Michael this week. I am recording this live here, so please forgive any mistakes or anything like that. But, well, of course, if you're listening to the podcast, you get the edited version. So I take a lot of the mistakes out unless I physically cannot remove them because it's too good.
We
But
make
we are
mistakes.
here live on this episode. I make tons. This is the show where Michael says the word gooder every 5 seconds. He's going to use that word from now on for the rest of the evening. Is gooder.
Much more gooder with pizza.
That being said, I want to say hello to everybody who is here. Hello, Michael, and hello, Lisa.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It's been a little bit since we've all been together, so
Are you
I
there?
missed you all.
Okay. That's true a little bit. I apologize for our absence. That was mostly due to my infection last week,
Yeah.
so I was not feeling well. So I do apologize for that. But we are here now.
I'm glad you're feeling better.
So I
Yeah.
want to thank
Glad
everyone for being here.
that you're
And
feeling
on
better.
this week's show, yes, thank God for antibiotics.
Right?
So we are going to kick
You have
things
in
off
mind,
this
Robert?
week, and I'm going to let you guys kind of lead a little bit of the discussion because I am currently driving. Don't tell anyone else that. I'm going to take that out when I edit this podcast down. But just so you know, for those of you watching live, I am currently driving on the camera, but I'm just having a phone call chat with you guys while I drive. But this week's episode, now that we got all that out of the way, you're going to talk about planning and last minute. The reason why I bring this up is because I had a family member who was in town this week, and it was kind of a minute trip, and they were staying. It's not at Disney. That's out Disney. Beautiful resort. Stayed at it many times myself. Orange Lake, if you want to know what the resort is. Fantastic resort. One of the best in Orlando. Now, the issue is they did go to Disney one of the days that they were here. They did go to Epcot. And I really got a unique perspective of what it's like, you know, as a pass holder, someone who goes to the parks frequently. My opinion on the very jaded a little bit because the way I do things in the park is jaded because I had the luxury of coming back and you know, doing things at a different date. I can hour for a ride because I don't have to. It's not my like once a year trip, so like I can come back and I can just do things differently. I'm not trying to maximize my time. Now, what I will say though is, as someone who is, I haven't had this experience of someone coming in from another state.
Robert? Oh, he's gone.
Looks like he's coming back.
Up there, everyone is.
There you
Yes,
are.
hey.
Okay,
Fix
I
this
apologize
lighting
for
while
that.
we're doing this.
That'll probably just happen just because of the nature of my situation. But what I'm saying is, I have someone who is traveling from another state and is going to the Disney parks and is going for a couple of days, whatever it is, and having to plan, not really planning out their trip. And I tried to give them as much advice as I could. I found the experience to be okay, I think, in their casings, but I found the experience to be a little lackluster, and it was kind of disheartening because it's not the Disney that I grew up with. Used to be able to go into any park and just to the park and do any ride you want, and maybe there was a line, but the line moved, and you got up there, and then so on and so forth. Or if you wanted a fast pass, you could get fast passes the day of, and then have a fast pass and go on and so forth. Now, with the advent of virtual queues and Fast Pass Plus and Genie Plus and all these things, it changes the game entirely, which I really found out this past week when they were traveling, because I can honestly tell you from their experience, it was impossible to get on a lot of rides, and they really had to pick and choose what they wanted to do, not because they didn't want to lines, and because of the fact that they there was not enough time in the day to do everything they wanted to do because of the fact that the lines were so long. And they did not purchase Genie Plus. They did not want to purchase Genie Plus. I told them to buy Genie Plus. I said it's worth it to get on what you want to get on. I think it would help them, but they did not purchase it, and they went through their day, and lucky they got on some of the major attractions. I'd say the two major ones that they got on would be Guardians and, of course, the Ratatouille ride. They were able to get on each of those. And that Ratatouille was a little bit of luck because they had to be eating lunch in France. They did get a same day reservation, which I was a little shocked, but it was for lunch. So it happened when you're eating.
Lisa,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I don't hear Robert. I heard him say they happen to get the same day reservation and
Right, which is a lot of times difficult, depending upon, I mean, for a last minute trip, to me, you really can't have high expectations, and you're probably not going to eat where you necessarily wanted to eat. A lot of it's probably going to be counter service. I don't think you're going to get a lot of the sit down ones. You're certainly not going to get the popular ones.
I agree.
Do you have
We've had that
family
happen.
or friends that turn to you as the expert and, hey, can you help me plan this for me? Or
Oh
you
yeah.
escaping all that craziness?
Oh no, I haven't, and that's why, I became a travel planner originally because I was planning for all these people, and might as well benefit a little bit from it financially, and so I did that for quite a while, and so, but I still help people on the side as well, plan but not, and I would say a lot of my personal trips are last minute because I have a cast member invite us and we're gonna go like the next day. So, but we also, just like Robert was saying, if there's, I always prioritize. I guess it's a little bit different. We were annual pass holders, but even when I was planning like professionally for people I didn't know, I always prioritize the rides and the dining. Like what experience did they want to have? If they really needed Remy, or if they really needed Guardians, or if they really wanted something very specific, then we would plan the whole day around that. So I know it's kind of a hassle doing last minute, and you may not get to every single thing that you want, but if you have your top 3, you can usually fit at least 3 good rides in one day, plus extras.
Now, I wonder, but plus the extras.
Right.
And the extras are what's going to help fill your day because, as Robert was saying, if most of your day is going to be spent standing online for an hour, 90 minutes, 120 minutes for one ride, you're not going to get everything in. and you'll do it once, but how quick are you going to be to walk up to a second ride with another 120-minute wait and go, boy, you know what sounds better than waiting once for 2 hours? Waiting twice for 2 hours.
Right. Exactly. Robert, are you there? Looks like you came back.
No, it isn't.
We're gonna keep talking until we hear your voice,
We will
okay?
keep talking.
But yeah, I would pick, like it depends on the party, the kids that you have, the ages, the adults and their attention too. If you've got stuff to do in line, or if you're chatting and haven't seen your family or friends for a while, like that's a great time to catch up when you're standing in line. So I guess it just depends. But like you said, if you're standing in line for an hour, 2 hours for a couple of the main attractions, that's going to take up a lot of your day.
And then what kind of excitement do you have when you get back to work and friends are, so how was it? Does it dampen your trip? Do you say, oh, I didn't get to do much, or it was a pain, it was too crowded? And, is that your incentive to plan better? Because not everybody can plan,
Right.
with DVC, I got to, try to get that room 6 months out. If it's not my home resort, I can do 11 at my home resort, but do I really want to be planning a trip a year in advance?
Right. And some things change too. So you think what attractions are open, or what might be the biggest thing, a year out, that those things can change. So, those were always like the benefits of going with someone or knowing someone that was a local. However, I mean, you don't have to. I would just I always tell people, come up with like 3 things that you just really want to happen. And
the non-negotiables.
the non-negotiables. And then everything else is just extra. Like, and 3 sounds like not enough because you think, oh my gosh, I paid this much money for a day in the parks. But
that's it, because then you go home, it's like, gee, I only wrote 4 things today. What the heck? There's
right.
2 dozen attractions.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, it depends on time of year. And if you are going to do last minute, you're not going to be able to check, is it a school break? Is there a marathon going on? What is it that's going to keep, and a lot of times people will say, oh, it's a holiday weekend, I'm going to run down to Disney, but the whole world is doing that. So right there, that you're in for it, but you probably don't, because it's not what you do.
Exactly.
Do you have that kind of insight? Or you need somebody like you who's done the trip planning to say, you know what? Maybe President's Day weekend isn't the smartest day to go running down there.
Right. Well, and that's just it. If you're wanting to do absolutely everything, oh my goodness, did you see those lines President's Day weekend? What? If that's your one chance. So like one of Robert's good friends, one of my Imagineer, has been there for years. Like he's always thinking of, he always gives me good insight to, how things are being thought through. And, and one of the things that he's said for years is, this is someone's one time only trip. That person sitting, crowding into you during the parade, or, trying to get in front of you during fireworks. This might be their one time. And so what are they going to get out of that trip? And so I think I scaled back my thinking based on that, because, after you've seen the castle, or after that big thing that you've seen or done, what else do they want to get from the trip? What characters, what attractions, all of that. So.
And you raise a great point, because as I'm walking down Main Street, a lot of times there are people lined up, or even in the hub, sitting there for hours, staking out their spot for the parade or the fireworks or whatever. And again, if this is my one time, do I really want to sit there for 2 hours just to get a good spot? Do I know to do that? There's so much else to do. And nobody's little 5-year-old wants to sit on a curb for 2 hours because mom has to get a front row seat for the parade.
Right. Well, and I will be honest, my kids will tell you, having 5 kids with different abilities, and even more because we've taken other foster kids, we've taken, other kids with us. And so we actually stake out our spot quite a bit before. That's where we have a snack. We sit and eat and get hydrated and wait for the parade. So I guess it's all depends on the group of people that you have with you too. If that's their time to eat and refresh, is it that bad that you sit there for 45 minutes waiting on a parade? I don't think
Right. I mean,
so.
45 isn't bad because you'd be doing the same thing for a ride, but it's times when there's nowhere near the parade.
Yeah.
And they're still there.
Oh, I know.
But I mean, okay,
right.
You do that once. Would you be in a hurry to do that again on your next trip? Or, hey, you know what? We saw the same parade already. We could be doing something else with our time.
Right. So that again, if they've seen the 3 o'clock parade, or if they've seen, something before, my kids always want to see fireworks, no matter what park it is. If there's fireworks involved, they're gonna see that. And so for some things, they would totally wait every single trip. But, again, they were, our family, even being from Indianapolis, were annual pass holders. So, like, and they've been hundreds and hundreds of days. And so that's not the norm for people from the Midwest. So I think we have a different perspective too. But I also always try to get through that lens of, this is my one chance. What do I have to see? What do I have to do if I never go back again? So,
right.
For Robert's friends and family that came into town, it's hard. But I would honestly, if I was going to the park that day, and even with our cast member friends, the last time Mike and I went to Epcot, one of our friends surprised us, and we weren't planning on going to parks. We were just going to do beaches and areas around the resort or around Florida instead of being at Disney most of the time. But we went to Epcot that day. We literally did everything that I would have. Like, we had a bucket list day. Like, we started with Guardians. We did Remy. We did all the things that we would have wanted to do. I don't know how,
Nice.
but we were able
Right.
to. But we've also
So
watched our times. So we would watch and see how long wait times were. Oh, let's run over here and do this. Let's do this. And we had to backtrack some. And a lot of people don't want to do that. They just want to go and do their circle and get through everything. So
Crisscrossing, yeah, that can take up time too.
It can.
Unless, and I've never done Genie Plus, so when it recommends a certain ride and I'm nowhere near there, I don't know how that would work.
Well, and you spend a lot of time on your phone and refreshing and, but I will say that's also a way that we were able to get pretty good reservations too. We watched our times, we looked at reservations that day, that kind of thing. We also...
Yeah, when something... Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, we also looked at nearby. Since we are at Epcot, we also went and looked at Yacht Club to see what reservations were there. What's a quick walk or a quick bus ride to get something else out of park. So.
Well, you're right. It's when you don't have the luxury of planning 60 days out. You might have to just scramble and pivot, and like you said, you refresh, and whenever something pops up and it's within that time frame, when you'd be hungry, you grab it.
Right.
And maybe it's not the best place, and maybe you don't go back there again. But for today, it was the best thing I can come up with, and we all ate, and so there.
What would you do, like, if you had, and I know you have guests come in town often, and they want to meet you at Disney. So if they have not planned, how would you help them navigate their day, being that, you're a native and you can go often? How would you recommend it?
See, for them, and it depends how often they've been here, because I've had people that have coming down for the first time, and I'm the guy that they call on. Not a travel agent, but I've been there enough, and they go, oh, I have to, we'll call Mike. And when I'm trying to plan for them, it's the same thing. I'm like, tell me what you want to do, and are you okay not doing these things? I think the biggest problem is that all these, as I lovingly refer to them as TikTok sheep, see something on social media and, oh, I have to go here.
Yes.
You know, number one, you don't just because TikTok, somebody, oh, I have to because this person I follow, this influencer, you know, a mind for the mindless, said I have to go here. I have to go buy a cookie at Gideon's. No, you don't. You know, you look at this line and go, these people are doing this just because some stranger told them they had to. You know, if you're not going to come down again, let's figure out what you want to do, but don't follow these TikTokers because they're here all darn day. They have the luxury of walking into places, or they'll start the video when they're next in line. You know, and they're not going to record themselves 90 minutes outside Gideon's. They're not going to film themselves 19 minutes.
Right. They never
90
show
minutes
that.
outside. No, that part. Oh, look, I just walked right into the haunted mansion. Did you now? Just, you know, separating fact from fiction, understanding the important things. Sometimes it's not apparent, you know, or the little kids don't know, but if the little kid wants to stop and try something, you stop for them, you know, and you try to plan. I'll try to steer them away from the horrible food, you know, and the restaurants that I know are garbage. You know, don't go into Pinocchio's Village House. I don't care. There's no line there. There's a reason why there's no line there.
There's a reason why. And if you
You know,
insist going, these are a couple of safe things that you might try.
Right. And when you're done, I'll meet you at the exit because I'm not going in. But I mean, especially for something like that, you know, I will, and I have a rental car. I used to rent a car when I was down there, but I have my car. So there have been times when I said, okay, let's have a quick service meal at the park. I will take them outside the park if I can find a reservation, whether it's at Disney Springs or, as you said, a resort. We'll go eat there. We'll go to Wilderness Lodge, eat at Geyser Point, look at the water, and then make it back in time to do something in the evening. So get out of the park, sit in the car for 10 minutes. You want to go back to your hotel and freshen up. Maybe we can eat at your resort. And try to help.
Yeah, that's great. You know, like you said, freshen up in the middle of the day. Go swim a little bit. Let the kids take a nap if they need it, and then go back.
Right.
Especially for those longer summer hours, because we're taking a little trip with my girls over spring break, and I look at the hours and it's 9 o'clock and I'm like, oh, so disappointing. We're not going to Disney, or we're not going to Universal. We're just going, you know, to our resort that we go to all of the time.
And
we'll do beach days and stuff like that, but
a beach day at the resorts, or a beach day drive out to a beach?
Drive.
Yeah. That's the problem. A friend of mine just texted me name of a restaurant, and he said, are either of these two locations near you? There's one in Royal Palm Beach and there's one in Delray Beach. I said, if the word beach is in the name of the town, it is not near me. You know, and people don't think, if they go far, I'm going to go to Disney, I'm going to go to the beach. No, you're not. You know, not without a rental car, you're not. And even then, you got to dedicate at least 60 to 90 minutes just to get there.
Well, we can hear Robert just a little bit now.
Robert's back.
Hey guys, I'll try to yell. My whole setup has gone awry. So what I was going to say to Lisa's point, I don't see how people do it during the summer without taking breaks. I see people that are in the parks all day, and if you don't stay at Disney Resort, there's a really good chance that transportation that brought you to the parks probably only 2 times a day. So it drops you off and then it picks you up later. I don't see how people make out like a break to nap. I mean, as a local, I have the privilege of being able to, you know, through the day or something like that. You know, I don't see how people in the summertime do that. It's just insane.
I came down in September one year, you know, staying at Bay Lake, so I had the easy walk. But I went back to my resort 3 times to change my shirt. And I wound up having to do laundry during that vacation because I didn't pack enough clothes to have to go through 3 or 4 outfits a day. But it was hot, it was humid, it was miserable. But I'm the kind that will go back to my resort. I'm not one of those, I have to go to the park, open to close. No, you don't. you can absolutely go back and swim. You can, there's so much to do at your resort. Go take
It
advantage.
really is. Yeah. Well, and also, like when I would do like detailed itineraries, I would try to put a break in there. But I would also like if you don't want to take a break outside of the park, then here are some things you can do. If you've got small children, you can go, first aid or the baby station and let them cool off. Like there's certain areas, a lot of people say Hall of Presidents or Country Bear Jamboree or some of Tiki Room, some of those quieter, air conditioned, just sit for a show, cool off kind of thing. So you can build in some of those breaks in the park, but you have to be a little bit thoughtful about it too. Or you could do a recharge, like, so this is with having 5 teenagers. Now our recharge includes a actual recharge, cosmic rays, finding so they can all recharge their devices because everyone has to take pictures without devices. So, and it's air conditioned. We can eat, either the snacks we brought in or the snacks that we buy them there, and they can recharge their batteries. They can sit there, chill out, use their phone. So, like, it looks different for every single person, how you might recharge during the middle of the day. But I just wanted to throw that out there. Sometimes you can find
Now,
those little places in the park that can be just as refreshing as
now
going out.
you guys were talking about the the resorts, and Lisa, you mentioned the pools, and we actually got Disney had something which I found to be kind of awesome for the resort guests this week that are staying property, that all guests, I believe it was all guests staying on Disney property, I believe it starts in 2025, will be getting a day ticket to Typhoon Lagoon or Blizzard Beach. A To me, honestly, that's a really nice incentive to stay on property, to be able to have that to their resort, in addition to the pools they already have on resort, to have that access to the water parks. That especially in a hot summer, that's a pretty amazing perk in my opinion.
I like it
Yeah, I'm
too.
wondering if they're trying that just to kind of, especially for the summer, disperse the guests. Because for the most part, the Disney sheep that will not leave the parks. Oh, I don't do the water parks because it's not a theme park. Forcing folks to get out of the parks and check out the water park. Maybe they'll find that they like it, but you're also helping to get some folks out of the parks and thin out the crowds a little bit. So I think it's ingenious.
And do you guys, as locals, do you ever experience the water parks, or do you just pretty much go to the main 4 parks?
I go right to my backyard
In
and
the
jump in.
summertime, I go as much as I can, because regardless of whether or not there's a pool in my backyard, I don't have a lazy river. So I will take the time to go. Now, as a local, going to the water park is a different I mean, at least it's more of there's a lot more work involved in going to water park, because I don't have a hotel, so I'm the person that will shower at the water park, will do all that stuff, because when I'm wet, I want to get out of my clothes and change, but I also don't want to be, like, from all that water from the park. So I'll shower, I'll do the whole thing. Like, I will say, like, I do enjoy going to the water parks, and I'll go a lot during the summer, especially with my. There is a problem, like, oh my God, like, having to get changed out of wet clothes and in dry clothes, take a shower and all that. I mean, I most certainly don't have to do, the shower part of it, but that water is not, I'm not, I mean, let's be honest, that water is gross.
Yeah, that's a petri dish of vacation time.
I was waiting for
But
someone to say that.
Focus on the P.
it's do you now? Does your pass, Robert, have the water park feature? Did you pick that up?
I just when I renewed this year, last year I didn't have it, but this year so last year I bought tickets to another water park town. I have SeaWorld passes with the Platinum Pass, so I get access to Aquatica, water controlled water park. So I didn't really feel the need to do it, but I don't really go to like Aquatica or SeaWorld or Aquatica or that water park that often. But I do really enjoy. It's not that I don't enjoy. I just don't get over there that often. I really do enjoy though, like Typhoon Lagoon, because I can go to Typhoon and then go across the street to Disney Springs and finish out the night there. So this year I did add it on. I think it was $100 upgrade on my pass, and I added that on, and of course the photo pass, because as long as one of us has the photo pass, then everyone gets the photos. So and I honestly, like, I think the photo pass is the most underrated add-on that people do not add to their passes, because
I
number one,
agree.
if one person has it, then everyone else has it. You can just share your photos from your account that are linked together and do that. And then number two, not only do you get your ride photos, but you can't go like 50 feet in a park, especially Magic Kingdom, without seeing a photo pass person. And I've had instances where I've literally taken photo pass people and said, hey, it's my daughter's birthday. Could we do like a mini photo shoot? And a lot of times they're just standing there like twiddling their thumbs, and they will gladly do the photo shoot for you. So now you have this person with this expensive camera that takes amazing photos, and they do this amazing photo shoot for you. And, you know, Lord knows what you would pay for that. Someone come in and do that for you. And you have Disney do it for you and just include it with your pass, and they're happy to do it. They do it. They enjoy it. So it is, in my opinion, the most underrated addition to any pass. I mean, that alone is worth it. Now you could say the water parks and more. I mean, you do get the golf with that. You do get you do get free golf at the 9-hole. I can't think of the name of it now. Oak Trail or something like the Oak Trail golf course. So you do get that too, but it's really about the water parks. But that one I can, like, this year I plan on using it because I want to go to the water parks more. But the photo pass, I will get that every year, no question asked.
Do
That's
you
what I was wondering,
always
because I couldn't see myself buying passes for a one day to go into the water park. But if I have that added on and I can go anytime I want, that makes sense.
now with the photo pass and that little photo? I always ask, and a lot of people forget to ask the photographers if they have any magic. If they have any of those magic shots. So that's
Yep.
just a little tidbit. Anybody that will listen to me, I always ask. I always tell them, see if the photographer that is taking your pictures has any magic, and a lot of times they do. So that's something fun to add to.
Yeah, pretty
And
much
it's
every
more than
stop
just a
has some sort
standard
of magic
photo
shop.
that you could take with your own camera. So you're right, Lisa. That's well worth asking, because it's different than the picture you're going to take
And
yourself.
well, it's that, and it's the fact that those cast members are already standing in the prime locations.
Mhm.
They've already consumed those prime locations. They're there already. So you can either, go to that location and have the person with the really expensive camera take that photo for you, or you can have someone else do it with your phone. And it's like they're already there. So you're gonna, 9 times out of 10, if you see someone standing there, you're gonna get a photo with them and then have them take the photo with your camera. It doesn't, it's like an extra step when you could just get the photo pass and do it that way. And I will tell you, the photo pass. So if you guys are worried about sharing your photos like online or anything like that, you want to share like a photo they took, like, they are pretty instant. Like, I think the magic photos take the longest, but 9 times out of 10, like as soon as they take the photos, like within about 30 seconds, a minute, I have the photos ready to view on my phone. Every time.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane.
And like I said, the great thing is they're
It is
already in their
fast.
Oh, and there's
spot. They
fireworks
know
going
there's a
off right
reason
next
why
to
they
me.
positioned somebody there. Hey, but there's a reason why they're positioned where they are. Yes, sometimes you draw the short straw and you don't get the popular
Right.
location where you have a line of folks waiting for you. But then do you really want that nuttiness all day when you can't take a break?
Mm-hmm.
But if there's a reason why somebody's standing in a particular location, number one, they may have that magic shot that you can ask about. And number two, there's some angle that they already know that'll help you go home with a really awesome photo. So.
And there's sometimes that you say you like when you walk over into Fantasyland and you think, well, why are they standing by a wall? Like they're standing by a construction wall. It's because they have a magic shot. We've had Lumiere, in our hand or, whatever. And sometimes those are some of the best pictures, some of the most fun to see a character in your kiddo's hands, they're holding them. So I always like those magic shots.
And once you pay for it, it's free. So you don't have to go
Even
home
the
and look at
one,
those watermarked photos that say,
right?
hey, cheapskate, why didn't you buy this? So
That sounds like some Disney math there, because I saw was it a TikTok or something the other day that said like annual pass holder math, and it said I've been to the parks twice now, and now every other time I go, it's free. So
Now that you talk about Disney math, and it's not cost effective at the moment for us to do annual passes. It was for a period of time when we came, down 4 times a year or more. But now the Disney math just does not work out. I mean, I remember buying our passes and they were less than $500 a piece. That's been a long time since it's been that way.
Well, now
I don't know if I told you,
it's
but
$500 for whatever the max of tickets that you can get.
Exactly.
So I get it.
back
I
in
get
the
it.
days of, I would always vacation differently than most people, but I would come down every year. Well, when I came down, it would be a Sunday through a Thursday. Usually Sunday was the Christmas party, so I'd come down in December. Monday, I would do resorts. Tuesday would be my park day. Wednesday would be Disney Springs. And Thursday, we would just hang out. So I would literally do the parks one day, and I would try to do 3 or 4 parks in the one day. And this is back when you could buy non-expiration passes. So I would go to my local Disney store. I would literally buy the 10-day pass, and it literally lasted me 10 years because I would use it once a trip.
It's awesome.
And I only needed it one day, and it was beautiful. And now it's gone.
I remember those non-expiration. There was someone recently who had a pass from like 1975 or something, and they let them use it and get in the park. And there was a news story on that because it was a non-expiration pass. It was pretty insane to see.
I had some of those for Universal Studios. Remember, my parents took us the year it opened, and everything was broken. Everything was up, but then throughout the day, things went down, and nothing was ready. And it was that first month or two, and I wound up finding passes in the drawer, these little paper tickets, and I'm like, I just put them away just as a collective, and I realized that they were valid, and I wound up using one of them. The other one I still have.
That's
fun.
Yeah,
it does work.
Right. Well, I think I'm gonna have to go, and you guys can obviously continue your conversation. But you guys have really made me think about a lot of things about those last minute planning. Giving me some more ideas because I have, even though it's kind of last minute, it'll just depend on funding. But I have a conference in July that I think I'm going to come to. I don't always like to be there throughout the whole heat of the day in July, but the parks are open later. So it's made me think maybe we would do a last minute, like with those conventions, you can get like a after 2 o'clock pass or after 5 o'clock pass or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we will do
Yeah,
a last minute
after 2
excursion
o'clock.
to a park. Yeah, and there,
It's
yeah,
it's
maybe so.
it's difficult. I mean, after 2 is definitely difficult because of the fact that you can't even buy, like, you can't even get Genie Plus. Like, there's just no way. Like, you if you go in after 2, I mean, like, let's be real. Like, unless the park is dead empty and it's been empty, you're really just in there for a stroll around the park. I mean, I don't see, I've seen those after 2 passes for like Epcot and stuff, you know, and some of the other parks, but like, I think those are really geared towards more the people that want to eat at the booths and do the shows and things like that. I'm not saying it's not, it's definitely an option, but it's just like, I just don't like. I thought just going in a day was bad. I can't imagine after 2. I mean, you could definitely get on stuff, but I just, after this last experience that my family had while they were here, like, although they did get lucky with some things, it just, it like, I feel so bad for people now that want to travel like last minute or just don't know how to plan. Like, even me sending stuff to them to help them plan, like, I was getting a headache typing all this stuff out because I'm like, oh my God, like, this is what you have to do. Like, I was explaining to them how to get in the virtual, explaining to them what Genie Plus is. Like, it's not easy at all. Like, you need to have like a training class on how to go to Walt Disney World, and it's like, it's just craziness. And it really comes down to, like, if you don't pay Disney extra money, then you can't get on the rides that you like, the big name attractions. So it's like a walled gate within a gate.
Yeah. But I mean, Disney found a way to take advantage and to start, charging folks for everything. And even with the way you said your friend couldn't find, you had to stay off property. Now, did they plan on staying off property, or was it just because there was nowhere else to stay?
No, they did not plan on staying on property. They um they uh they had already booked an off property stay, and they just wanted to go to Epcot for the day. They wanted me to go with them for the day. So, I admit, like, them staying on property would have helped. Because they could have had, like, that extra, they get like an extra 30 minutes in the morning, and that maybe would have helped with like something like Ratatouille or something. Like, they could have got something big out of the way. But
See,
other than that, like,
I'm just thinking of the place where you stay, because a lot of folks in that case, and they had you to guide them, and you found them a nicer resort, but folks go by price, and everything looks good in pictures. But when you get there,
yeah,
I hear people say that they get hit with
oh yeah,
hidden fees when they get there. There's a resort fee for like $25, $30, $40, $50 as a resort
yeah,
fee. Nobody can explain
yeah,
what it is. Parking, if you wind up renting a car, and all these hidden, that, and all of a sudden that $99 room, number one,
I
the
mean,
place is filthy. It costs a lot more.
and I can tell you, like, 2 things. Number one, the biggest hit that you're gonna have, and these people that book resorts and hotels at, on 192, or let's say like International Drive, the biggest hit you're gonna have is transportation. That's just it. Disney's transportation is like clockwork. Every 15 minutes there's a bus. The resorts, unless they're like a Waldorf Astoria, or a like really really nice Hilton, or like the Four Seasons,
or something crazy like that. Even like the Ritz in town, I don't think offers transportation to and from Disney. Like you have to get transportation. And the thing is, like, these other places, they'll boast about how they have transportation to and from the theme parks, but they literally take you at 9 a.m. in the morning when the park opens, and they do not come back to pick you up till 9 p.m. at night when the park closes. There is no
Yep.
in between. So there is no freedom of having an afternoon break. You're there all day. And I agree, like, it does save you on parking, but some of these transportation, some of these resorts charge you for the privilege
Right.
of having that transportation. And even the transportation company may charge you on top of that. So, you know, it's like it's insane. Like, I mean, and unfortunately, you know, like, I I know there's some great resorts in Orlando that will take care of you transportation wise, get you to and from. There are some great ones out there. I know a couple of them. There are some good ones. I'm not saying all of them are bad. Majority, you know, good chunk. I would say like 60 to 70% are hotels in Orlando just do not offer reliable transportation to the parks, and you're gonna wind up all that money you saved on the hotel is going to be eaten up by parking fees and renting a car and all these other things, other expenses. I mean, if you want a less expensive hotel, then stay at Pop Century. You know, they always have a pretty good value when it comes to Pop Century. You know, it's just, I see so many people in like local, like, or like groups online asking if the Best Western on 192 is a good place to stay. And I'm here to tell you it's not. I mean, number one, it's going to be extremely dirty. You're not going to have, it's going to be really, really sketchy as far as, I mean, there might be people that live there. Unfortunately, that's a sad reality in Orlando. A lot of people live in the hotels on 192. And, you know, and you don't know like what extra fees they're going to be, things like that. So it's just, and I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with I want to retract my statement and say there's nothing wrong with people living, you know, at the hotels. I feel sorry that they're in that situation, but you know, it's different than people that are on vacation. You know,
Right.
it's just a sad reality of this city we live in.
And they're taking advantage of the guests. If you check the names of these places, they all sound Disney-ish or Disney-esque. It's a magic something.
Yeah, they all say main gate.
Main gate, yeah. And people fall for it because they might not know. You know, if you're doing last minute, maybe you just, hey, we have an opportunity to go down to Disney soon. And you don't know, and you wind up grabbing that main gate or the magic castle or whatever the heck. And man, far cry from what you could be doing.
Yeah,
a lot of times it's living this last minute thing wasn't the best way to take care of the kids.
Unfortunately, that's a sad reality of, you know, of people that travel here. There are places that are not the best to stay at, and people don't do a lot of research. And unfortunately, you know, I hate to say it, but Orlando is just not one that, you know, you can plan last minute unless you're willing to throw money at it. You got to throw money at it in order to make sure you get something decent, or, you know, do your research in advance and look for the best deals, because there are great deals out there for some amazing places. There's some amazing hotels on International Drive that have amazing deals. There's even some great properties on 192, which I know gets a lot of bad rap, you know, from people, but there's a lot of great places on there too that have amazing deals too. You just got to be kind of diligent and do your research and look at the thing. And I will tell you guys, you know, for those of you that are looking, you know, one of the best tools that we have right now for tracking pricing and things like that is this emerging tech that we have with, because I've been recently looking at travel myself, and I mean, obviously, a travel agent would be a much better way to go. But if you don't have that luxury, there's a lot of tools that utilize AI that research past pricing and things like that to kind of find out when the prices are the best and guide you to get the best prices for the best rooms. And it actually works really well. So if you guys have the means or know what you're doing in that space, there's a lot of tools out there that I've found that work really good. And they're, AI is just conversational. So you can just ask it, hey, I have these dates and I want to travel this date. And what's the best deal you can find me for a quality room at this in Orlando? And it'll tell you. So that's always something to look out for too, but you got to be careful.
Yep. Do your research, find out what fees there are, resort fees, call the resort if you have to. If you see some questionable reviews, move on. That free breakfast in the morning, they'll give you a cold muffin and a banana and tell you, here you go, here's your breakfast, and it's not going to tide you over.
Yeah.
To your point
as soon
about
as you get to the parks,
the All-Stars, a lot of these places, yep, you're going to have to, but you got to make sure you budget for meals. People, I won't have to worry about paying for breakfast, so I'll take that out of the budget. No, you're going to want breakfast. Now, that banana will be done by the time that van drops you off at the park. The resorts, the values are no longer value if you go, not even wrong time of the year. $79, $99 rooms are gone. They're replaced with 200 and change almost.
But it's a far cry from the $500 to $600, $700, $800 for a deluxe resort. So it is cheaper in a sense to a deluxe resort or maybe a moderate resort. But heck, I remember when you could get into Port Orleans for $200 a night, And another great one to look at too, if you're looking for great deals, is the Swan and Dolphin. I mean, realistically, like I've been staying at the Swan and Dolphin for years. And I recently stayed at the newest, the Swan Reserve. And I think all said and done, with taxes and fees, my stay came out to like $230 for one night. And we are talking, this is a deluxe resort. Swan and Dolphin are deluxe. This is a deluxe property that you're getting for a much cheaper price. And they offer great deals on the rooms from time to time. There's some great pricing for that. And they get the same perks as Disney hotels. They have the same, the same transportation. They get the same early entry, if I'm not mistaken. So a lot of the same perks that you get with Disney, you get with these, and they're right there by Epcot. You can walk to Epcot. You can walk to Hollywood Studios from those resorts. They're right there. So, next time you're staying, check them out too, because you'll be shocked. Like the pricing is a lot less than what you'd pay for a deluxe at Disney, and you get a deluxe stay. It's a deluxe property.
Right. And if you really are budget conscious, don't go by what your friends are telling you. You'll have a friend, oh, no, don't go there. We stayed at the Polynesian and my family loved it. Not everybody can necessarily afford that. And if that's the way your friends are steering you, don't feel guilty that you can't do it, because that money's going to go further. If you can get a room for, $200 a night at Swan Reserve, now you can do additional things. You can buy that extra souvenir. You might maybe you pay for Genie Plus instead of paying $500 or more, just because your friend stayed somewhere.
And I can tell you too. I mean, when I stayed there recently, it was a wonderful experience. I mean, it was, we had a very nice room. We were facing towards the lagoon there, Crescent Lake, excuse me. So we had good views, and they even have room service there. We had an awesome room service breakfast. That's always a treat. So it was an amazing room. So don't count it out. I mean, they have a lot, and even the property itself has 4 or 5 restaurants on property. There's a counter service with amazing breakfast. There's a breakfast buffet on property that it will fill you up. And that's the thing too. I always go into this with the mindset that when I go to the parks, I want to just tackle the day. And I don't want to spend a lot of time eating because one of the things that I've had family members in the past who's told me this, eating takes time. If you do a table service for lunch and you do a table service for dinner, you lost, 2-3 hours there waiting for the table service, eating at the table service, and then doing that again. Where honestly, if you spend, 20, 25, $30, whatever it costs for a breakfast buffet at, let's say the Swan and Dolphin. I think the Dolphin has the breakfast buffet. If you spend the money for the Dolphin and have the breakfast buffet, and you're full, and that carries you over through lunch, I mean that's a big deal. I mean, I would always do that. I would always go to the breakfast buffet, eat a ton of food, and just have that carry me throughout, and just spend that time on rides and dinner somewhere.
Absolutely. Yeah, never underestimate the nice breakfast buffet. So, yeah. Awesome. Well, this was good. I hope people got some great ideas. We even inspired Lisa, who was looking to. Everybody will pick up some nice stuff. So, we lost Robert. Sorry, he'll edit all of this out in post. But I want to thank you all for listening tonight. Hopefully, you got some ideas. Find us on social media. If you have any other ideas to share with the group. That's how we get all of our suggestions. Everyone's got a tip that they don't mind sharing. So we invite all of you to participate. That's how we build the audience, and that's how we can build that camaraderie around fans. So at the end of the day, we are all Disney fans. So I look forward to seeing you all again next week. Thank you very much. I appreciate you joining us, and we will join soon. Take care. Bye.
Are you there, Michael? Hello? Hello?
Hey, Robert.
Yeah. Are you there?
Robert? Hi. Yeah, I'm here. I tried doing a quick sign off.
Okay, good. I'm going to end the
So you
stream
may
right
just
now.
have to do an